Jesse Blake Sports Report. Really? Oh, wait, really? The Jesse Blake Sports Report. That's it?
Don't forget, it's the Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
That's kind of redundant.
Dude, is there a problem?
No, it's fine. I just, I thought maybe you guys would come up with something, good.
Man, just read it.
You know what? Doesn't matter to me. I get paid by the word. Let's do this. The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake. Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Today's episode of the Jesse Blake Sports Report is brought to you by Duer. That's D-U-E-R. Now, Duer makes the world's most comfortable pants, and I know this because I am wearing Duer pants, and they are very soft on my rear end. And I shouldn't just stop at pants, because they also make the world's most comfortable shorts. So if you want to cut off the pants, you don't have to cut them off yourself. They also sell shorts. And Duer's clothes are made for simplicity and performance. So they want you to be able to go from like the office to like the bar. It's made for everyday lifestyles. They don't only have pants and shorts. They also have like beanies and shirts and polos and tees. They have everything you need to build a great wardrobe. It's for comfort, style, and function. So you go to Duer.ca, use the promo code SDPN. You'll get 15% off of your purchase. You don't even have to go to Duer.ca. You're on this podcast right now. You can just click the link in the description of the show, and I'll send you right to Duer, where you can get the world's most comfortable pants. Today, we have a very special guest. And before we get started with this guest, I have to ask them a couple very important questions. Are you a paid actor?
Absolutely not.
Are you an AI-generated image that's learned to talk?
Possible.
Are you producer Drew's brother?
No.
Okay. So we're bringing on producer Drew, who, that was for you, YouTube comments, who people don't believe is a real human.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't believe I'm a real human. I guess it's just I could have been a figment of Steve's imagination all these years or something, but I let it go for a long time. A few podcasts I joined, I made them put the black face over me, like the whole word's a question mark and like silhouette, like those documentaries. But yeah, here I am.
Okay. And if you're not familiar with producer Drew, anybody watching or listening, he's the producer of Steve's content, really, all of it on Sportsnet, Hat Picks and Dang It. And then this season, Drew, you start producing the LFR, which has been an adventure, to say the least, right?
Yeah. I mean, Steve's not very good at timing, as you know very well. So like, it'll be like, yeah, I'll have the video for you at 1 a.m. And I'm sitting there at 2:30 in the morning, like, dude, I can only play Call of Duty for so long. Like, can you send the video already? And you're like, oh, yeah, it's coming. Yeah. So it's an adventure when it comes to timing, for sure.
Yeah. And like, you have nothing else to do. Like, you don't have a child or anything. You don't have a job, like nothing. You're just sitting there waiting for Steve.
I love running on 3 hours sleep. It's my favorite thing to do.
And the reason I have you on today, especially this week, is because you are a huge Avalanche fan. And we need to talk about what happened last night, because I had so many notes from the game. The Avalanche beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-2 in overtime, and we're going to run down the game. We're just going to dissect the series as a whole. And then all of a sudden, Jon Cooper decides that he doesn't know what a line change is and how the game of hockey is always played. So post-game, I'm going to play this for everybody listening. This is what Jon Cooper says in his post-game press conference.
I thought we had a really strong first. We had to lead. I love this league. It's the greatest league in the world. The people that run it are amazing. Everything about it, it's like a dream come true for me, especially being a Canadian kid growing up and everything that's gone on. And a lot of times when you're I've been part of some heartbreaking losses and defeats to teams that took us out, and been with a group that just fights, and they fought their way to a third Stanley Cup final in a row. And in a cap era, when it's so damn hard and the rules are put against you, because the league wants parity. And I love that about the league. And that's what makes it tougher. And just watch this team, what they've gone through and the battling that's gone on. And we're all in this together. Players, coaches, refs, everybody. But this one's going to sting much more than others just because I think it was taken on. It was potential. I don't know. It's hard for me. This is going to be hard for me to speak. I'm going to have to speak. I'll speak with you tomorrow. You're going to see what I mean when you see the winning goal. And my heart breaks for the players because we probably still should be playing. I'll be available tomorrow.
So that's Jon Cooper post game, and he should probably get an Oscar for that performance. Forget Will Smith winning. It should have been Jon Cooper this year. And before we dive into it, I'm going to read what Hockey Ops said about what Jon Cooper's referring to, because he's referring to Nazem Kadri making a line change, who scored the overtime winning goal. He made a line change with Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon appears to take a couple seconds to get to the bench while Naz is receiving his pass. So Cooper's upset because there was no too many men on the ice penalty called. He thought the line change was a little too much and that there should have been too many men on the ice penalty called, and that the overtime goal should have not counted. So Hockey Ops said in reference to that, a too many men on the ice penalty is a judgment call that can be made by any of the 4 on-ice officials. Following the game, Hockey Ops met with the 4 officials, as is their normal protocol, in discussing the winning goal. Each of the 4 officials advised that they did not see a too many men on the ice situation on the play. This call is not subjected to video review, either by Hockey Ops or the on-ice officials. Drew.
Yes.
This is yours. Take it away. What do you think?
First things first, Jon Cooper, a bit of calling kettle black. Don't you think with the Islanders last year, Game 7, you win 1-0 on a goal you scored with literally 7 players on the ice, and not one of them fighting with the door. It was literally in the play, and Barry Trotz was snapping and everything, and didn't hear any comments about it then. But now a line change that's made 100 times a game, the exact same thing happens, and Tampa had 7 skaters on the ice themselves. By the letter of the law, is it too many men because Kadri touched the puck when he switched to MacKinnon? Yes. Is MacKinnon fighting with the door and nowhere near the play or involved? Yes. Should Tampa have been able to stop Kadri when it's 1-on-3 and he's got a broken thumb? Also, yes. So I think maybe you should be mad at your defensive pair for letting Kadri walk through you and beat Vasilevsky more so than MacKinnon fighting with the door, because that affected the play at all. I mean, Kadri jumped a bit early. Did that help the play a little bit? Maybe, but come on, Cooper. The amount of breaks you've got in the last 3 full seasons, $18 million over the cap, give it a rest. Come on. And unless it's tactics, unless he's just trying to drive his team to give them motivation for next game, I can see that maybe. But that gave me a lot of like, woe is me. Like it almost sounded like they've given up on the final, didn't it? Like the way he was speaking there.
It did a little bit, but I think you nailed what was happening with Cooper and his mentality. I think he's trying to, because they need to do the impossible now, come back from 3-1, and he needs to grab onto anything to try and motivate this team to come all the way back from 3-1. And if he thinks this is what's gonna work and what's gonna get them to win the next 3 games in a row, like, good for you. Like, okay, go ahead and try this. But what you're saying isn't true. And I didn't like the discourse that went on hockey Twitter last night, because a lot of smart hockey people pretended that they don't know what a line change looks like, and like counting the people who are a couple feet away from the bench or standing near the bench as on the ice, when that happens, I don't know, 5-10 times a game where everybody's making line changes and there's 8 guys on the ice at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are we pretending that that's not how the game is just working all the time?
And let's not also that would happen if they called that goal back. That goal gets called back 1,000 times during the season. And people are like, oh, you should be able to challenge that. Can you imagine the nonsense if you could challenge a too many men on the ice thing? Like, oh, wait, his skate was kind of still on the ice when that goal was scored. Sorry, guys. Oh, and by the way, you're shorthanded because too many men's a penalty. If it went the other way, Twitter would be having an even bigger uproar. Can you imagine that goal was called back because MacKinnon couldn't get the door open? It would be a mess.
Right, yeah. This better not lead to this being added to video review, because that's ridiculous. Like, we're going way too far with that situation. But do you think this is a tactic that Jon Cooper's using to kind of motivate the team? Because 3-1's an impossible lead to surmount.
It is impossible, but you also have now elimination game Vasilevsky, who's impossible to beat. So if any team can come back from 3-1, it's Tampa Bay. Am I confident Colorado is going to win the series? Yes. But at the same time, I mean, you could barely beat the guy last night in the game before that. So, I mean, kudos to Cooper if that's a tactic, but I'm not giving him that benefit. I don't think it was. I think he was just being a crybaby and whining about it because he was just upset. He was being a little sourpuss that they lost the game. They got absolutely dominated in overtime. Don't talk about the 2 posts Colorado hit right before that or the 12-2 shot advantage. Talk about the literal line change that happened when your guys were also changing.
Yeah, you think it's an emotional state that Cooper was in post game, and he's trying to just grab onto every excuse now because the team did get dominant. Colorado was so much better throughout the back half of that game. They struggled a little there in the first period, and then they kind of turned it on to begin the second. Then they kind of wavered in the late seconds, and then overtime was all theirs. Like, it was a great effort by the team.
Yeah, the first 30 seconds when Tampa scored, I just was like, oh my God, is this really happening? And then it was after the first, they settled down. But yeah, I think we were shots 14-2 after the first. That was not a great start, not the start I wanted. But yeah, they came back and made it a series or made it a good game. Little ugly goals on Vasilevsky, but that's how you got to beat him. And yeah, all playoffs, Cooper's been complaining about everything. We saw it against the Leafs. He didn't give the Leafs credit for one of their 3 wins. It was always like, oh yeah, we played bad. Oh yeah, Campbell's not very good. And then Florida dominated them. They got swept, but Florida was all over Tampa in most of those games. It was Vasilevsky. And then against the Rangers, Tampa came back. But yeah, Cooper, I think he's just being emotional. If you really thought it was too many men, I think he goes off more at the end and says like, this Wes McCauley's got to call this and blah, blah, blah. Instead, he's like, no, I got to talk about it tomorrow because just in case I'm wrong. Like, he didn't want to commit fully to the bid, I don't think.
Yeah, and where was the complaining in the moment? Like, when you were there?
I didn't see him snapping. Like, at least last year with Trotz and the Islanders, you saw Trotz like throwing things and yelling at the refs. Cooper was just calm, left the bench, and then afterwards he's like, oh, my heart breaks for our team that's scammed the cap system and done all this stuff the last 2 years. Oh, my heart breaks so much.
It's a shame, too, that Nazem Kadri's moment is being overshown by this. You know, it's like we're taking away the comeback. You know, this is first game back since breaking. It's his thumb, right? Breaking his thumb, having surgery on it. And then comes back, he scores the OT winner. That should be the narrative. That's what we should have come on here this morning and talked about. It should have been like, celebrate Nazem Kadri. And it's a shame because now we're only talking about this ridiculous line change.
Well, and that's why I loved Kadri's line after. He's like, puck went in the net, end of story. Like, I don't know what Cooper's talking about. Like, and he's right. Look, you're not reviewing it. The series is now 3-1. Get over it. Kadri scored the game winner. It was probably the weirdest Stanley Cup OT winner I've seen since Patrick Kane's. It was a game 5 against Philly when they won it 4-1.
Yep.
In overtime.
Where nobody knew except for Patrick Kane.
Except for Kane. This was just weirder though, because only Byram, who was like way back on defense, was like, "That's in the net. It's in the net." And when Kadri's like slouched over, pissed off that Vasilevsky made the save, and then it was a weird celebration. Watching live, I was just like, "What's happening? Is it in? Is it in?" And I'm like, "I don't even know." And then I see the puck drop out, and I was like, "Well, does it count? Why are the refs like?" The refs were like talking about it. They didn't even say goal. They were like over the net, like, "Oh yeah, I think it's in the net." And I was like, "Can someone just signal goal so I can celebrate?" It was very anticlimactic in that sense.
Yeah, Kadri was when he shot the puck, he started looking at Vasilevsky's pads to be like, okay, where is it? Where is it when he's coming around the corner? Yeah, and then the refs finally made that call. And then have you seen the clip of Stamkos trying to cover the puck and then he fishes it out the net and he tosses it away?
No, I haven't seen that.
So there's a little clip floating around of Stamkos. He kind of try to covers the puck with his backhand, and he takes it and he throws it out because it was, you know, it was stuck in the top of the net. Yeah. He's the one who takes it out. So a lot of people
I thought the refs hit it down.
No, Stamkos who grabs it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, Stamkos trying to hide the fact that he scored," but that's not what he was trying to do.
No.
It's just a funny narrative that they had around there.
And
all right.
I was thinking too, like Kadri scoring that game winner. I've seen some rumors going around, people saying that he's up for the Conn Smythe because of that goal, but let's settle down with that. This is going to Cale Makar and Nichushkin if they win the series.
Yeah, I think it's a runaway victory for Cale Makar. If we look on sportsinteraction.com right now, he's 1.12 odds to win the Conn Smythe, which means if you were to bet $10 for Cale Makar to win the Conn Smythe on Sports Interaction, you would win $1.20. That's how much of a favorite he is to win.
And not even win $1.20, you win 20 cents because you get your dollar back on that.
Right. So it's a foregone conclusion that Makar's gonna win the Conn Smythe here.
And I will say, if you want to bet the Tampa comeback, just bet Vasilevsky to win the Conn Smythe, because I'm sure it's like 30 or 25 to 1 right now. It's probably way better odds than Tampa come back in the series. And if they do come back, it's gonna be because of him. Let's be honest.
Right now, it is 15 to 1.
There you go.
For Vasilevsky to win the Conn Smythe. Yeah, if you think there's a comeback to be had, just bet it like game by game, really. You know, you do the 3 in a row, you do each game, because I assume they're going to be underdogs going into each game, and then you just hammer the Lightning. But I don't think either of us believe that that's going to happen, right?
No, I think it's going to end in 5. I hope it ends in 5. I was looking at flights this morning to Denver. I was like, how can I get to game 5? And then the cheapest round trip from Toronto is $900. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, the wife will kill me if I just spend, here's $900 on the flight, probably $900 on a ticket, and the crazy amount of merch I'll buy when I'm there, let's be honest. And then if I want to stay for the parade, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably too expensive for me to get out there, unless there's any Colorado fans watching that want to pay for my trip there.
It's also not a guaranteed victory. Imagine you get there and they lose and it's back to Tampa.
Oh, I'd be so upset. I'm there and we lose 4-0. I'm just sitting there like, oh yeah, that was worth the $2,000 I spent to get here.
Right. I think you'd have a better chance. It'd be like, it's a cheaper flight if they go back to Tampa for game 6.
Right.
And I think they'd close the series there. Like if they lose game 5, I think it'll go 6 and then they'll close it. I don't think we get a 7 here.
I think if they lose game 5, it's going to 7. I don't think Tampa's losing the cup at home.
Oh, this will be interesting. Yeah, it's a huge. This might be the whole series, because a lot of people aren't going to have faith in Colorado closing it out if they don't do it here in game 5. You know, it's like this might be the entire Stanley Cup for them, because if Tampa gets on a roll and they go back home, they're probably going to close out at home, and then game 7, everybody's picking Tampa for game 7.
Yeah, I got the butterflies just thinking about if Colorado loses game 5. We just can't lose it. Can't lose game 5. It's just simple.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of Kemper's play last night? Because that seems to be the biggest discrepancy between the two teams is the goaltending. You mentioned Vasilevsky there, and Kemper letting in a not so great goal on a backhand by Victor Hedman. What did you think of his play so far in the series and last night?
I mean, so far in the series has been so-so. I think last night he played very, very well, though. I mean, the first period, Tampa should have had 4 or 5 goals, and he robbed them a bunch of times. I mean, yeah, that Hedman goal was a weak one. He's got to have that, but he saved 4 should-be goals in the first period. So, yeah, I mean, you take what you get and can get right. I mean, he played great down the stretch. Besides that one Hedman blunder, I honestly think he may have been the better goalie. I mean, would Colorado hit 5 posts in the third and overtime combined? So it's not like Vasilevsky was absolutely unbeatable. It was just those red things beside him were stopping the puck a bunch.
Yeah, they definitely helped out. And like on Tampa's side, the block shots were incredible. I
can't stand them. I don't know how you watch the whole Toronto series. It's just they're just clogged the middle, and their guys are so big. I'm just like, oh my god, get the puck through.
Yeah, every time Colorado's in the zone, there's 5 Tampa players right in the middle of the ice there, and they're all blocking shots. It's incredible to watch.
I just don't know. Like, I guess it's because Vasilevsky's such a huge human being, but like most goalies would hate that, right? Because then you have like 5 bodies in front of you every single time. If that shot actually gets through, it's probably a goal, but he's just so huge that's just going to hit his chest protector, which I think is illegal, but that's a conversation for another day. But it's just, I don't know how they block so many shots. Credit to them, but like they're battlers. You kept seeing them dropping like flies, go into the dressing room, come back, block another one, go to the dressing room, come back. It's impressive, the dedication they have.
Mm-hmm. And I think your theory is like on the right line about how big Vasi is, and that you can have the guy standing there right in front of the crease and he can see around them. Like he's such his visuals, his sight lines to the puck are incredible, and he's able to see everything and get in front of it.
Yeah, if I saw Colorado playing defense like that and Kemper was like, oh, where's the puck? That's a goal 10 out of 10 times. It's just you don't do that with a regular goalie. So I mean, that's why he's the best in the world. Sorry, Shesterkin.
Right. It's true. Like one has the resume and one is just beginning their resume.
Exactly.
Let's wait a little on the Shesterkin Vasi talk. All right. So we've covered the game. Do you think it's gonna end in 5? Is that where you're leaning towards?
I think it has to end in 5 if you're a Colorado fan. So I think it does. I'm gonna say 6-2. Colorado wins the cup in a blowout. I think Tampa's just out of gas. It's all the small things in the series. Colorado's just doing them better.
And I think your pick of 6-2 has a lot to do with your mental health and easing your
Yes.
stress.
Oh man, if
when
it
you're
goes to
watching
overtime
your-
again, I'll be so stressed out. But then it'll be fun. Maybe you win the cup on an OT winner. That's always the best feeling.
So anybody watching on YouTube, you'll see producer Drew's background right now, and it is just filled with Avs stuff. There's a championship banner. There's a Sakic there. There's another Sakic jersey on the side. Drew, we need to know, how did you become an Avs fan growing up in Ontario?
Long story short, I absolutely hated my older brother growing up, and he was a diehard Leafs fan. I think I was like 6 or 7, and Colorado had just won the '96 Stanley Cup, so their merch was like all over the Walmarts and the stores around here, because that used to be a thing. Walmart used to have hot NHL merch. So I was walking through it, and my mom's like, "Hey, you want a jersey?" I was like, "Sure." And then, like, that was the jersey I wore playing foot hockey at recess. I don't know if people know what that is anywhere, but yeah, foot hockey was the best sport ever with a tennis ball on the field. So I would rock the Colorado jersey, and I just became a fan. And then when I was 10, they won the cup in '01, and I was all aboard the train. And I remember I got third degree burn or first degree burn. I don't know which one's worse. I think is first degree worse than third degree.
I think the number goes up the worse it is.
So third's the worst. Okay, so I got first degree burn because I had a blowhorn when I was 10 when they won the cup, and I'm blowing it on the street. And for some reason, I blew it on my wrist, and I didn't know that air horns are full of acid. So I was like, "Brr, oh!" And I got taken to the emergency room because I burnt my wrist. And I was like, thinking my head back, I'm like, what kind of stupid kid was I blowing an air horn on my wrist? But I guess I was just like, dan, 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 oh. Like, you don't realize there's fluid that comes out of those air horns.
I had no idea. I'm a grown adult, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it was like from like a buck or two, one of the cheap ones that just makes the noise. I didn't know that the aerosol spray burnt your skin.
And that was the night they won the championship in 2001.
Yeah. So it was like 10 o'clock at night, like after the game or whatever it was. I don't know what time the game was at. I think it was a New Jersey game. No, it was in Colorado. So yeah, it might have been like 11 o'clock at night. But yeah, I blew it on my wrist, and my mom was like, "Oh, you're such an idiot. Like, let's go." So yeah, that happened. But yeah, that's how I became a Colorado fan. Can you call a 6-year-old a bandwagon jumper? If so, then I'm a bandwagon jumper. But yeah, it's mainly because I despise my older brother who loved the Leafs, and that's how it happened.
That's so crazy. And like I 100% relate to okay, we just saw the team win the championship, and now that's my team, because I was a St. Louis Rams fan when they were in St. Louis, and like all my life we grew up a St. Louis Rams fan, because the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, when I was a kid, they won the Super Bowl, and that's the first Super Bowl I remember ever watching. And just because they won that time, I was like, "Oh, I'm a Rams fan." You know, little old me at like 9 years old or whatever is like, "Okay, that's my favorite team. They're the champions." And that's kind of just how kids form.
I feel like
favorite teams.
It's always stupid reasons like that. Like the reason I'm a Bills fan is because they had a quarterback named Drew when I started watching football, and it was Drew Bledsoe. And if I started watching a year before when he was on the Patriots, I would have enjoyed 6 Super Bowl rings the last 15 or 18 years. So I was like, why would I start a year late when Drew Bledsoe was on the Bills? And like, that was the only Drew Brees came in a year later. Like, I could have been a Chargers fan. Kids are dumb. They do dumb things.
Right. And you just never know what's going to happen. So I guess the 2001 championship doesn't really count as experience in a championship, right? You're just a kid and all that. But I wanted to know what it felt like to win, but you haven't won yet either. Just like us Leafs fans, you're still waiting for.
I got a first degree burn. That's all I remember about winning the 2001 Stanley Cup.
Do you have a scar from it?
No, it's gone now. I guess it's just, 20 years later, I guess it's just gone. But yeah. I did for a bit though.
Okay. That's one hell of a memory. And like, what are your plans? So you're not going to fly out. Your wife's not going to let you. Do you have any celebration plans if it actually happens?
So I'm buying a big bottle of champagne. I'm going to be on the stream with Steve for Game 5. We'll have the Avalanche fan cam again, like we did for Game 4 against the Oilers. So hopefully they win, and you'll see me popping champagne. I'll probably put like recycling bags all over my basement, just because who knows where that's going to go. Like, maybe it'll break my TV. I don't know, but yeah, you'll see me do that. But honestly, I don't know, like maybe flights are cheaper to go to the parade if they win. I think that'd be a good experience to go see. So yeah, maybe I'll go to the parade. I don't know if it happens.
I think you need to get out there for the parade.
Yeah.
Like you never know when you're going to get a next one.
Exactly.
Like the Raptors championship to me feels impossible, and I feel like I got my one and that's it. Like, I'm never getting another one. But so like, go experience that. You need to do it.
So if, let's say the Leafs were up 3-1 on Colorado playing Game 5 in Denver, would you fly to Denver if it was cheaper than Game 6 tickets in Toronto?
If it was cheaper than Game 6 tickets, 100%.
Really?
Because I would find any way to get into that building for the Leafs if they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Like, I gotta be there no matter what. And if the flight is cheaper than the tickets because Toronto is just crazy with those prices, then yeah, I think we do. I think we'd probably do it as a show. You know, like me, Steve, and Adam would probably fly out or something. Or Steve would probably have to stick around with you.
Maybe just stream from the stands in the stands with you guys beside him.
Oh, there you go. And maybe you'll come out as their producer, so the four of us could have just a little row there.
Yeah, it'd be a fun time. I'm just thinking because I looked at the prices of tickets and it's like $900 for the cheapest ticket in the house for Game 5 as of right now, and that's US, so it's probably what's that, 1,400 Canadian. And if that was in Toronto, you're looking at least $3,000 to get in the building. I'm thinking for a Stanley Cup final clinching game.
Yeah, because it's got to be at least double and then add some tax. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's it's hard to think about because it's so far away, and like the emotional state that you're in right now experiencing this, like it takes a toll on you and it seems unbelievable. So it's like a very exciting, like I can't even envision what that would be if the Leafs were in this situation.
The only thing I will say, if somehow, some way Colorado loses this series in 7 games, I don't think I'll ever experience heartbreak at that magnitude again in my life. I mean, I got the 13 seconds with the Kansas City Chiefs and Bills this year, and that was already devastating, but this will be that times 10. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. I'm just like, I would go into like a dark place for like a day or two. It would be sad.
Yeah, it's so hard to come back from, you know. At least you have a really, really good team. Like some guys you can't re-sign coming back next year, but at least you still have a shot next year. But like losing in Game 7 to this
after
team
being up 3-1, it'd be your Habs feeling last year, but multiplied because the Stanley Cup's on the line.
Right. Oh my God, last year so depressing. Like, I don't know if anybody watched the Steve Dangle podcast after that loss. Like, we were so down.
You guys are just sad. It was just sadness.
It was 100% sadness. Like, that was it. But yeah, it'd be times 100 for you if this is Stanley Cup final 3-1 losing. And
they're winning it in your building, holding the cup in Denver. Yeah, just, oh man. I don't even
Why are we putting this into the universe?
I don't want to think about it. Stop it.
Yeah, let's stop everything. Thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. It was the perfect timing after a win. Like you said, it would have been depressing if they had lost last night and you came on the show. So I really appreciate you coming on. Check out Producer Drew's work on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. It's all of Steve's videos. And you do some stuff on your own as well. I know during the NFL season, you have some really good picks going into the weekend every week.
Yeah, me and Cam Stewart host a football pick show. It's we give our picks for every single game of the week. And I will say once again to Toronto Maple Leafs fans out there, thank you for Nazem Kadri.
Now, the next portion of this podcast is 19 plus. There's a responsible gaming link in the description of this podcast. You can click that there if you need those resources for responsible gambling. sportsinteraction.com/SDPN if you want to get involved in any betting action. That's the place to go, Sports Interaction. And I want to talk a little about Wimbledon and Serena Williams in particular. Now, Wimbledon kicks off on Monday, and Serena Williams is making her return to tennis after a year away because of a leg injury. Last year, she was in the first round of Wimbledon. She had to retire. It was like 3-3. She retired from the match, and she hasn't played tennis since. She played a doubles match this week, but she hasn't played a singles match on the WTA since that first round at Wimbledon last year. And this is every time Serena Williams enters a Grand Slam, it's an important moment for the history of sports, the history of tennis especially, because she's sitting at 23 majors. 23 majors is one shy of Margaret Court's all-time record of 24 majors. And Serena Williams, she's 40 years old. She's been playing tennis all her life, essentially 40 years. And her time is winding down. As we can see, she hasn't won a major since 2017. The Australian Open in 2017 is the last major she's won. And for me personally, and I think in her mind, she's still chasing that 24. That 23 isn't good enough. She's been so close a number of times. She's been in a couple finals, a couple Final Fours, and she's bowed out. I don't know if this is the time. I don't know if this is if this is the Grand Slam, but I think she takes enough cracks at this that she gets to 24 and then eventually 25 and gets that all-time record. I know, I don't know, but I think that 23 must be weighing on her. And that's the reason why you fight back from a leg injury. And she said in a presser this week that she didn't know if she'd return to tennis at all, and she had to fight all the way back. And right now on sportsinteraction.com/SDPN, she's around 14-1 odds to win Wimbledon. My money's on Serena simply for the storyline, simply for the greatest tennis player of all time, in my mind, to have the greatest accomplishment, to have that 24th major, tie Margaret Court's all-time record, and then hopefully she carries this momentum to the U.S. Open where she can break the all-time record. Like, that's... my heart melts at the idea of Serena doing this. I want to see her accomplish it. So that's where I'm going to be placing my money. And that's the storyline I'm going to be watching in sports the next couple weeks. Next 2 weeks of Wimbledon. I want to see Serena do it. I want to see what she's got. Like, we don't know. She won a doubles match this week, so we do know she can still do it. But we don't know what she has on the singles side of things, how competitive she'll be with the favorites, with the newcomers, with someone like Simona Halep, who for me, that's probably my second pick to win the tournament. If it's not Serena, it's probably Simona. I want to see what Serena's got, but my fingers are crossed that she pulls this off. I just want to get out there on this episode because by the time I record the next episode, that's already going to be underway. And I just want to know that if you're watching, I'm watching with you. And it's going to be one hell of a 2 weeks at Wimbledon. Also, go Nadal. Nadal fan. I want to see Nadal do it as well. So that's what I'm going to be watching. Thank you for being here. Thanks again to producer Drew for joining the show, talking a little Avalanche Lightning. We'll see what happens on Friday with that game. Oof, it's going to be close. I don't think we get the blowout that producer Drew wants. We'll see. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here right now, watching or listening to this podcast, and I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. I'll see you next week.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake, powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.